Hello, hello everyone. This is Alexandra Meadors of galacticconnection.com. And today is May 5th, 2015. Oh my God, May. Can you believe it's May, Matthew? It's like, where did this year go? I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
So I would really like to start out today just by saying thank you to all of you. I am saying this from the depths of my soul because so many things are going on this planet that if it weren't for all of us doing our bit and anchoring the light and spreading the light and doing a lot of these warrior missions behind closed doors, we would not be really succeeding at this time like we are. And I just want to put out the accolades to each and every one of you for what you're doing to assist the light on the planet. So with that said, if you are new to Galactic Connection, please check us out. It is galacticconnection.com. We do have a daily blog page that is available to you 365 days a year. We cover everything from spirituality to ufology to quantum physics, conspiracy, health, you name it. Anything that has to do with getting out of the box. And the most important thing of all is raising our consciousness so we can really figure out where we're going and who we really are. And I got to thinking about it. I had a really close friend named James who introduced me to the guy that I'm bringing on right now, and he is very special. I think you guys are going to feel the same way. His name is Matthew Hurtado, and he is a very interesting guy. Not only that, he's not only gorgeous, sorry guys, but he is, but he's a bodybuilder. And most of you out there are saying, oh, come on, what's that all about? But he's really taken this to another step as far as really trying to incorporate feeling really good about ourselves, but also taking in the higher state of consciousness and building our bodies to the next level. And we really need to be looking at our bodies now because this is truly our temple, and this has truly got to get us to the next place we want to go. Right, Matthew?
Absolutely.
And, you know, I was really drawn to him at first because he had a story a little similar to mine from the standpoint he had Lyme's disease and chronic fatigue and post-traumatic stress, which I've experienced. That's no fun at all. And really got super just totally obsessed with trying to find an answer. And so you guys know me, I'm all about healing, and I think you're going to really enjoy hearing about what he's designed, what he's brought forth, the players that are in his so-called health council. I thought that was kind of interesting when I was listening to some of your videos. And please, while we're talking, go ahead and check out his website. It's called rnadrops.com, but it's way more than that. I mean, it's so beyond RNA drops, even though that's a fantastic product. I just really want you guys to hear the science and the perspective behind this. It's very unique, and it really is in an alignment with the type of work I do with quantum homeopathy and my own alchemical galactic essences. So with that said, how you doing, Matthew?
I'm awesome. Thank you, Alexandra.
Yeah, thank you. I know it's an awesome day. It's gorgeous outside, so we can't complain.
Yes, it is. I just got done. I went to the park with my kids because it's one of the very first nice days we've had here. It was pretty cold up until today, and I've been looking forward to this interview, though, because last time we communicated, it was so great between us because a lot of the thoughts that you share with your audience, I'm right in agreement with you. And you're right on the money with your products and what you're doing. And that's kind of how I got started. Was I found myself, before I found myself, I was just an average person working out. I was a fitness trainer, training people, and bodybuilding was my whole world. I was one of those guys. And then I started to, what's that?
One of those guys.
Yeah. Well, you know the world, it's everything is bodybuilding, very tunnel focused. I didn't understand spirituality. I didn't understand any of this, but I was sort of brought in kicking and screaming into that world because I found myself getting very, very ill over the course of many months and bedridden for a year and a half, almost 2 years. And in that time, that was my journey of learning. And you said something last time we spoke about, like sometimes these illnesses are our wake up call.
Yes.
It was a wake up call, and I'm stubborn, so it took a long time for me to wake up.
2 whole years. Well, what is that saying about me? I was in bed for about 3 years.
Well, you had more mastery to go through, I guess.
I'm kidding. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, that's it. To make a long story short, that's what happened. And I remember I had to bankrupt my family because I went the naturopath doctor route. I went the regular doctor route. I bought every $800 a month in health supplements I was using to try to get well. And some of it worked, some of it didn't. But there had to be a mind body approach. And finally, it started to click and things started to really set in. And a lot of the products that we have today were sort of components to that, as well as some other work I did energetically. But it all boils down to where we're going is kind of what's really happening and what worked. And you talk about getting into the essences and getting into the vibrational things. That's actually what helped me. And when I sourced the product in Switzerland that we call our Complete Essentials RNA drops, we sourced it in, there's 4 different monatomic elements that are in hybrid states, and they are non-metals at this point, and they're more of a vibrational essence than anything. That's kind of what they are, but they've been clinically studied, and they had certain aspects that helped with the immune system, with the brain. There's so many different ways that it approaches you holistically.
Uh-huh.
I found a lot of benefit. In fact, the PTSD was eradicated within a couple weeks, and I've never seen anything like that. And that's kind of how I got sold on the issue. I experienced the unknown, so to speak, and I had a change of consciousness.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you before we dive into all the details of the products.
Yeah,
Let's talk a little bit more about the man behind this company. Now, you call yourself Network Holdings?
that's the actual LLC company. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
But I find it very interesting. Not only you seem to be young, you've been on this path for some time, right? You said that it started when you were 15 that you had a lot of these challenges.
Well, the bodybuilding stuff. When I was 28, actually, that's when I got really sick. But I didn't tell you the whole story. The whole story is at age 12, I went through some depression. Then I had a 5-year eating disorder from 19 to 25, and most guys don't usually experience those issues, but I had 3 of them. I had night eating syndrome, bulimia, and anorexia,
Oh,
and I
God.
was really bad. And I healed it 100% after 5 years. I figured out what was causing it. It was control issues, and I did some NLP on myself, and I worked on myself for 24 hours, and I collapsed the whole thing, and I walked away from it and never went back. But
And you know what's great about that is, just so the audience knows, that there isn't anything out there that you can't fix.
right,
There is nothing that you yourself cannot repair with possibly the assistance of other practitioners and healers. And I'm a real big proponent to support all the healers out there because they're all doing their bit. Everybody's going to bring you something. Now, with Matthew's approach, I find it very fascinating that you have this very extensive background in running a health supplementation store and that's kind of stuff. That really caught my attention. And I'll
yes,
tell you why, because I'm a very big proponent of not being too dependent on supplementation.
hmm
And I kind of wanted you to go over that with everybody as far as what did you see, what were you finding to be the actual case?
Oh, gee. Well, okay. When I ended up, I owned a nutrition franchise for a while, and what I disliked about it greatly is that you have hundreds of different products, but they're all well, they have one thing in common, and you want the biggest margins in a health food store. So they source these ingredients from China usually, and then they're actually toxins. And I really just didn't like that. And I just got so frustrated because I couldn't get myself well with those products. So I said, I can't own this business anymore because I'm only selling a small fraction of these products, the ones that I knew that worked. And I was disregarding all of the other ones, and they were expiring on the shelves because I wouldn't sell them.
Yeah.
And so that's what I found in that world. And so that's why we've condensed it down to, just a few different basics that actually worked.
Yeah, and I was really impressed with that you took the major players that the body needs, simplified it, and created a balance and almost an intertwining with all of your essential kit programs. So we'll go over that in a minute too.
Yeah.
Now, you also,
Mhm.
what have you learned from being a bodybuilder? I mean, what has that brought to the forefront as far as creating this whole line of products that you have?
Well, like you were saying earlier, I think it is important for us to be in the body right now. And now, bodybuilders are extremely in the body because there's nothing they care about more than their body at any given moment. But it's not to that degree. But for a lot of the people who are spiritual and they're so entrenched in the ethers and their astral bodies, it's time to get more physical, and it helps ground. And so I found a good balance between allowing my consciousness to explore outward, but also to keep myself grounded with weight training and staying in the body, as you said. It's very important.
Yeah, and not only that, but a lot of us have a misconception of what so-called ascension, which is what people use that word, is. And really, we are being transformed and being drawn back into our bodies. Instead of moving outside of our
Yes.
bodies like we've been drawn to do for such a long time, we're literally being called to kind of pick all the pieces and put them together and align them, especially your spirit, your body, and your mind, that they really work in unison. So I thought this was absolutely fabulous. So with that said, tell me, when did you actually start this new product line? I know you kind of went through a change from the old RNA
Yep.
drops to the new, but
Yep.
with the new product line, when did that literally get going?
It was right around June of last year.
Okay.
We spent a lot of time and a lot of money finding out. See, what I wanted is I wanted a product. I wanted to start from the back and go forward. I wanted something that did a certain function. I didn't care what was in it. I said, this is what I want it to do. So we traced everything over to Switzerland to a company out there that has pharmaceutical grade materials, and they do it all in a way that it's pure. There's no contaminants, no toxins. And I wanted to start with that, and then I wanted to go with the latest cutting edge science. And so we kind of found it all under one roof, and we put a lot of money into it. It cost a fortune to get it going, but at the end of the day, it's the most economical way when you do it right. And that's what we kind of did, is we found the right product.
Hey, integrity is everything, right?
Yeah, it really is.
You have to really believe in what you're doing. Or listen, when you're in the spiritual community, they're going to get you.
Yes.
If you're not in integrity, they're going to get that too.
Yes.
And so that's kind of, I mean, you're such a unique person out there, because a lot of the supplementation or the natural nutritional products and things like that, they're just strictly really focusing on the body, and they're
Yeah.
looking at the marriage between the body and the spirit. And so I think I really want to commend you, because the fact that you did the top down approach where you thought, okay, this is what I want, and now I want to create it and create that. How do I
Yeah.
get from there to there? I think that's one of the reasons why you've become so successful.
I think so, because obviously life has its challenges and we're going to go through things, but at the end of the day, if you really know that your product is good and you really believe in it, word's going to spread. And that's what I bank on. You see, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a TV host, and I don't have a platform to use like that. But what I did have is that I had a lot of money, and I had a lot of time and creativity, and I had been around the block for so long with bodybuilding, fitness, and nutrition that I knew that I could do this. And we just put our money where our mouth was, and we came out with something, and it really worked.
Now, you mentioned that you brought forth Dr. Howard, and
Yes, Dr. Howard. Yes.
like you had a whole team of people. So was that
Yep.
the first thing you did, was to seek out other experts in this field?
Yeah, I did. I did a lot of outsourcing. Dr. Howard and I have done business for a few years now, and he was referred to me through one of my old coaches. I had a lady that was coaching me, and she was very, very good. And she said, look, if you really want to put together a product, I've got a great referral for you. So she sent me to Dr. Howard, and I tried using his stuff, and I tested it on a bunch of bodybuilders because they're the best critics of some of this stuff.
I bet.
And they were blown away with how some of the natural muscle builders were working better than the synthetics. We were using homeopathic and what he calls hormonogenetic versions, and they were beating the synthetic ones that destroyed the body, and we were doing it with no side effects. And I said, this is the technology. And so we sourced that, but I also did a lot of elance and outsourcing, looking for biochemists and product engineers. And I put 3 of them to work for me, and I had them find me this company in Switzerland. So I leveraged their knowledge and their accolades to help me put together the puzzle.
Smart. And you also mentioned about the quality of the source. I'd like you to share with us exactly how toxic is it when you're sourcing to countries such as China? What are we potentially putting in our bodies when we buy these off-the-shelf type supplements, etc.?
One example is cadmium. A little bit of that will put you in the emergency room, and I've seen bodybuilders that have bought cheap products and they've ended up in the hospital. They've called me and they said, I don't know what happened. I've got heart damage and I've got my kidneys are failing and this and that. And I said, well, what did you take? And they were telling me products they bought. And I said, oh gosh, what's in those products? But you see, they don't know what's in those products. It's not regulated. So they think they know what was in that product, and the doctors are at a loss because they don't know. They said, obviously something's wrong. We're going to treat it. But they could have taken anything. You've heard of the stories about Walmart where some of the kids' toys from China have a lot of these toxic metals and things. The same with the supplements. You don't know what you're getting. If you don't get it sourced in a way that it's GMP compliant and you have a toxicology report that tells you the certificate of analysis and all that, if you don't have that stuff, then you have no idea what you're getting.
Well, and it's interesting too, ever since that whole entire when the animals got poisoned through the dog food.
Yeah.
That was devastating. I mean, how many hundreds of thousands of animals died in Canada and the United States? In fact, I had a couple people write into me that had experienced that from purchasing. They just happened to purchase food that had been manufactured in China. So I think a lot of people really want to support the United States anyway, as far as manufacturing here, but also that's really been a wake-up call as to wherever you're sourcing, you better make sure that it's clean, clear, toxic-free, you're putting it into your body. So
yeah, it's almost like language. If you want to know what a word means, you go to the source and you have to get the right context. But even with everything you put in your body, everybody's wondering about, is it a GMO? Is it this? Is it that? I mean, we're under assault in many different directions, and the last thing you want to do is go out and spend your hard-earned money on a health supplement that's actually adding to your toxic load. It doesn't make any sense.
God, that's a good point. Well, okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. Now, I found you call it the Complete Essentials line, and folks, I thought it was so cool because he spells it ASCENTIALS. I mean, again, you're combining the physicality with the spirituality, and I think that's something that my audience would be interested in. Was that kind of a bam kind of idea?
Well, yes, because that's kind of where I see it. As we merge from, you're the expert on this, but as we merge from where we are now to where we're going, we have to kind of bridge that heaven and earth and bring them together, so to speak, and it should be complete. If I'm going to supplement, what does the body really need? It needs 72 essential minerals every single day without fail or exception. That's a living organism just like your plants. You need those minerals. What else does it need? We need to have certain enzymes and things like that. But there's a lot of superfluous stuff out there that we don't need. And so let's just push that off the table. And then where are we going? We're ascending. So what kind of products would get us to ascension? And then if you look at I think it was 1994, the Scientific American Journal, they studied this ruthenium, one of the monoatomics we use in the Complete Essentials RNA drops, and it made the DNA, it said 10,000 times more light to the DNA. It's all on our website. All the research was there. So we took all this research of, stuff that's already available today, and then we said, well, let's make it available under one roof. Let's make this an Ascension product. Let's make it work.
That's fantastic. Now,
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit about monatomic gold and silver, because
Yes.
there is a lot of controversy about that out on the internet. There are products out there that are just frankly not good for you. And some people
Exactly.
they'll shy away from monatomic gold and silver because of that. So what would you say to them about the way in which you're incorporating that in your products?
I'd say it's good for them to trust their intuition, because I was one of those people. I never touched a monatomic gold or silver product
Me too.
till I did my research. And what I have here, I'll show you, is this right here is the actual from the manufacturer, but these were all the clinical studies that were done on our products. And I did a snapshot of it on the website when I did an audio, a little bit about what's in here. And these, all of them, on all the trials, there wasn't one metabolic negative effect, and there's no toxins, and it's not even in the metal state anymore because of the way that they can manufacture this now.
There you go. There you go.
Yes. So I said, bottom line, it can't hurt us, right? They said, absolutely not. And I said, well, what can it do? And they said, well, all the reports there, it can help the body with the cytokines, regulate the immune system. It can help with the brain. Monatomic gold is proven that within 3 seconds on the saliva, it balances the left and right brain hemispheres. So there's so many different benefits that can be achieved, but the bottom line is can't hurt you. And that's what I said. Oh, well, that's what I want. I don't want to hurt anybody. And if it benefits us, then that's what I'm looking for.
So Matthew, talk to us a little bit about what would someone appear to be like if their hemispheres were in balance?
Well, hemispheres being balanced, it would be more like previously, before I had the ability to do this, I was running anxiety 24/7.
Okay.
A lot of people are very left brain dominant because we're educated to be that way. We deify our logic. And what we want to do is we want to get more into more into the midbrain. Kind of, the midbrain is where the pineal gland is, and that's where all the yogis and everything, they create from the midbrain, and they don't have to use logic. They use sounds and mantras, but visualization through the midbrain. You have two centers. You have your, I think it's your sacral chakra and your this chakra right here, but you create out of those.
Yes.
But once you balance the brain hemispheres, they actually found that you have better whole brain performance. It's not so much anxiety driven. It's like you got your artistic side and you've got your analytical side both working for you.
Excellent. And now, why would you say that it increases your intelligence?
Well, okay. Most people associate intelligence with memorization. Let's say they go to college. They learn how to memorize because that's what passes the exams. But why was Albert Einstein considered an idiot, but yet he was a genius? Because he didn't use just memorization. He was using his other aspects of his brain. He was tapping into insight and intuition and just universal knowledge that's always available. That comes from the other side of the brain.
Right.
And to me, that's intelligence in its own aspect too.
Well, and I think also I read that this product, the RNA drops or spray, brings forth more agility. Now, you just mentioned less stress, but also improved mind-body coordination.
Yeah, I would say so. And a lot of that's based on a lot of feedback we get too. You can research a lot of the monatomic gold is also known for that too. That if you see some of the positive aspects, people say it enhances the physical structure and it makes you, can give you a lot more strength and stamina. James reported some stuff when he went skiing. He had more stamina. Myself, I've been through the limes. I've been through all this. I'm 38 years old today, and I'm working out like I'm 19. So I'm working out at the capacity of half my age, and I want to keep it that way.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, hey, I'm looking forward to that. That'd be awesome. Now, you talked a little bit with Dr. Palmer, and this is something I wrote down. It says, the entire nerve cord goes through the atlas and axis. Now, I'm very familiar with what he was talking about.
Yeah.
I did actually quite a bit of chiropractic treatment the Palmer way. Can
Yes.
you talk to people a little bit about why that is so important? Now, I just want to just preface with the audience, we are giving you a lot of uh, preconditioning, pre-information before we tell you about the final product, and there's a purpose for that, so bear with us.
Sure. Well, now what you're getting into is a lot of Dr. Howard's work. Now, Dr. Howard put this into the RNA spray. Dr. Howard's a genius. If you want something done, he's the guy, and he created that product. That product actually can help with that. Now, one thing I did is I had the Atlas prophylax procedure done, which actually takes the Atlas, puts it in its place. But I've also done a lot of upper cervical. You have all of these nerves. I mean, there's like 300 million different connections like
I,
running through that area.
I was blown away. 427 trillion nerve cords
Yeah, that's what
are
it is.
running through the atlas and the axis, folks.
It's insane.
It's
Yeah.
insane. And it says what? Over 83% of the public has atlas problems.
Yep. If you've been in, if you even sometimes even the birthing process is known to do that.
I've heard that too, yes.
Yep.
So now, how did studying the first and second vertebrae and the fact that they being dislocated, or what it is you call subluxated,
Yeah.
right? If they were subluxated, they were able to prove that you had more of a propensity to virus and bacteria and illness and things like that. So how did you leap from creating this amazing set of products to going there?
Well, you see, the amazing part about it is, you see, I put good people to work. Dr. Howard created that. So I don't want to take the credit for what he did. I'm fortunate enough to be able to offer it. I'm the only one that's offering it because I have the rights to it, but that is his invention. And
Really?
I'm not that smart, Alexandra, but I know how to find smart people. So
I think you're pretty smart, Matthew. I think.
thank you.
So now the first formula is the spray. Can you talk a little bit about how the spray differs from the drops themselves?
Yeah, I can. The spray we designed that more for, it has the Sequoia giganticus in there, which is the Sequoia is one of the largest trees. And Dr. Howard was able to take the essence of that, which is the strength of that tree, and put it into the elixir, into the essence of that.
Yes.
And they've been doing studies in other parts of the world where that's completely transformed people's lives just with that alone. But he also said I can get the power of gemstones in there, and we can do the gold. And again, it's not metal. We didn't use the actual metal; it's the actual essences.
I love
Yes.
that. I love that. Yeah, you
Yes.
brought up Aurum, which is something I use as well. And again, I mean, this is just such a perfect, I don't know, alliance with what I'm already doing. I completely relate to what you're working on, because you're working on all the bodies. You're
Yes.
just working on the physical structure, and you're able to allow the body to really work as a self-healing mechanism and find the root of the cause.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. Talk a little bit about it says here he was talking about water and the matrix of water and why that's so important. How does that fit into this whole thing?
Okay. Again, when I need something that's really out of this world, Dr. Howard will blow me away with something like that. And just one of the things he said, it's exclusive to what he knows how to do according to his knowledge. He says I can do a proprietary water thing, and that's as far as I knew. And I said, well, what is it going to do? And he said, well, it's going to make the value of the product extraordinary because it's going to provide a ton of healing properties. And I said, well, put it in there. And that's about as far as I know with that technology. That's one of his trade secrets again.
I bet you he's talking about the structure of the water as well.
Yes.
Okay, which again allows the body to be able to process it so much more effectively, efficiently, and expeditiously.
Sure.
So that the cell can absorb it,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, poorly structured water, we get that all day long. We need something that actually the body can recognize and utilize the full capacity of it.
Absolutely. And also talk to us a little bit about, why does the body need gold?
Well, the body, okay, I think the body needs gold. What did Dr. Howard say about it? He said originally we got it. It's one of those things that we originally had enough of, and we've probably been deficient in it for eons. And it's one of those things where if you look at just gold in general, why did the ancients refer to it so much? The muff, what do they call it? They had all these weird names for it, but it was the original mana. That's what they talked about. It gave them the ability to communicate in the other realms because this is this whole brain functioning, and to bring it down to the physical, it's the brain,
Right,
and
right.
that's the way I see it.
Yeah, and also the electrical capacity of,
It's a superconductor.
yeah, superconductors. So that's really important. Obviously,
Yep.
as you know, our brains require that in order to fire the synapses, for example.
Yep.
I thought the other thing that was really fascinating was
Exactly.
he determined that it was pyramidal and cone shaped. And that was a new piece of information for me. I thought, wow, that really makes it very important because they've found this in the bloodstream
Yeah.
regarding magnetics.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, and now is gold readily available in our foods, in our nutritional, intake?
Um, I would probably say not really, not because no. If you look at any of the critical minerals we need and stuff, they're deficient. You're not getting. You can. Most people are eating and eating and eating, but they're deficient. And the chronic illness is caused by toxicity and deficiency at the physical level.
Mm,
And that's Raymond Francis's work with his book Never Be Sick Again. He's an MIT trained biochemist, and he said it doesn't matter how well you eat, you're not going to get this stuff. So I don't think you're going to get your gold. You're definitely not in the standard American diet. You're definitely not going to get it.
and what isn't it down to something like maybe three actual minerals that we have in our soil these days if you buy just standard food at a normal grocery store?
Yeah, it's so scarce that um, I don't know exactly which three they are, but I know the answer to it. I think through trial and error, I found the answer by putting the minerals back in my body. And one thing Dr. Howard said too about gold is that your body can't just absorb gold in its original state. Your body won't absorb gold. It has to be done in a certain way, and that's what we found in Switzerland and Dr. Howard. They both had a proprietary way of getting it in a non-metal state. If you ate gold today, you're not going to absorb anything good from it. It's going to be a poison.
Correct. And that's the way homeopathy works, folks, is, you can take the stinger of a wasp and you can put that as a physical stinger and then take it through a series of dilutions and potentizations and end up with the essence of that stinger, which ends up being extremely beneficial for the body. And if you looked at it under a microscope, you would not find molecularly any matter in that homeopathic formula.
Exactly.
You're doing the same thing here.
Yes, that's exactly right. In both the company in Switzerland and Dr. Howard are both using similar, yet vastly different technologies, but with the same goal in mind. That if you looked under the Complete Essentials RNA drops, that stuff is potentized and it's energetic. You're not going to find, oh, there's the silver, there's the gold, there's the ruthenium. You're not going to find that.
Right. That's the best way to go with the body today.
Yeah.
And of course, every cell is receiving that data, that information. It's not just
Yeah.
get locked into one organ that is probably most likely not operating to its optimal level.
That's right. That's why we call these liquid software for the new human.
I love that. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Software. Now, does he talk a little bit about what kind of gemstones are in the RNA drops?
Yeah, he really gave me a good breakdown with that. Let me see. Hold on a second. Let's see.
I'm so curious,
We got the RNA spray right here.
especially for all the alchemists out there.
Oh yeah, this really does come down to alchemy.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. So okay, so he keeps it under just gemstones, then 3x and 6x. But I'll have to get you the audio because he did tell me all of this information in a private conversation. I recorded all of our conversations so I could reference it later, but I'll get that to you because I do know exactly what gemstones he did talk about. I know all the information actually. I just can't remember it all at the top of my head.
Well, I think we'll forgive you.
Okay.
I mean, I just know from working with gems in my elixirs, you receive so many benefits from that, and you get carbon and silica from a
Yes.
lot of different gemstones, which you may not necessarily receive, obviously, from flowers and other types of essences. Now, talk to us a little bit about the strength and the dosage and how often they take it. Like, is it maybe too strong for certain people? Do they have to build up to take it?
Okay, now this is the good news. When we're talking about the RNA spray here, we're talking about that is done 3 sprays 3 times a day, and you want to make sure that it's under your tongue and you don't have any food or drink in your mouth for 30 minutes before or after. And then, obviously the blood-brain barrier, you can cross that, and you do it 5 days a week, and you take 2 days off with the sprays. These are pretty standard, but when you're talking about the drops, that's when things get really subjective. For instance, I have some people that have taken 3 dropperfuls a day, and they're like, I feel a slight difference. I feel good, but I don't feel that much. And I said, that's great. And I've had some people say they've taken just a couple, and they're like, whoa, like this is insane. Like I feel like my energetic body has just doubled,
Feel
and they feel some sort of different. They feel different. They see the world differently. And what I recommend is you gradually build that up. So you start with just like a few drops under your tongue once a day, and then take it to half a dropper once a day, and then half a dropper twice a day, and then go to 1 dropper twice a day until you reach the point where you feel like, wow, I feel really good. And then that's when you can maintain that on a regular schedule, and you don't have to take it every single day. You can kind of take it as you want to take it at that point.
okay. And so basically the bottom line, the spray is the same as the drops. It's just a different way of taking it.
No,
That's
completely different actually.
completely different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, where the spray was more designed in terms of how can I create a product that's incredible for the immune system. And then Dr. Howard, he got really fancy on the spray, and that's why it's got the gemstones and all this stuff in there. But it was originally designed for, I wanted a super immune system support. And then the drops were designed as in, I really want to cut loose. I want to tap both sides of my brain. I want to be able to, if we are going to be interdimensional, I want to become interdimensional. I want to be able to tap into my full human potential. And so that's what those are exotic, I would say.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So the spray, tell me a little bit about the success stories of the spray. I mean, the people that have been taking that to up their immune system, can you give us some feedback on that?
Yeah. And without telling too much, but I'll say I have a lady that has Lyme's disease. She's an older lady, and I've got more than one person, but I'll give you one story right now. She has it, and she used the spray and the drops, and within less than 2 weeks, she said most of her symptoms were totally like not even recognizable anymore. And I said, well, that's crazy. And I said, what were your symptoms? And she said most of it was neurological. She said she had, the constant anxiety, the burning, this. If you've had Lyme's, you know what I'm talking about. It's not just fatigue and pain. It's all kinds of ridiculous symptoms. But she said that she was actually clear-headed again. She felt calm, stable, and she can think clearly. And the main thing she said is she can finally think clearly, and she can finally feel comfortable in her own body again. Which, to me, that I don't know, like how do you get that back when you've lost it? I mean, that's the $1 million question.
That's fantastic. So really, you would almost equate it to getting your brain to function at the maximum capacity once you're on this for a while.
Yeah, your brain, your nervous system, your immune system. I mean, all the vital components because it, like you said, it's not just affecting the physical, it's the other bodies too, your etheric body, your astral body. That's what some of these exotics were designed for, and that's what the ancient texts were talking about. When they talked about the gold and now they found the ruthenium, the silver, the iridium. They're starting to do these studies and they're starting to use these elements for interdimensional travel and levitation with objects, and they're starting to figure out how to tap this stuff for all kinds of crazy scientific things. But
It's so
these
exciting.
elements, yeah, these elements, what they are, they're unique because they change.
Hmm.
They can go from one element and then you look at it again and it becomes something totally different. So they're almost tachyonic and they're interdimensional. They're here and they're not here.
Wow.
And
That's cool.
yeah,
Now, is part of that because it's all about the observer?
well, probably it's probably about the observer, but I have a theory that maybe you might like, maybe you won't. But if you think about the human body, why is the human body so kind of slow to catch up? I mean, our voice, if I talk to you right now, we can be thousands of miles apart, but my voice can be with you and it can also be here at the same time. Like if I faxed you something, I have a copy and you have a copy. We can both hear my voice.
Right.
So these minerals are kind of doing the same thing. They're kind of showing up in different places all at the same time. But why can't our bodies do that? And I have to say we can do that. We just have to get back into the place where we remember how to do that again.
So what you're really saying is it's breaking through the space-time continuum.
Yes,
Wow,
entering into the unknown and becoming what we lost originally.
that is cool.
Yeah, that's the whole purpose.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can you guys tell I haven't talked to him in this deep of length of, pretty obvious. Anyway, now tell us a little bit about, I didn't understand this. What is insulinos?
No, that's actually the old RNA drops.
Okay,
That was the other company. Yes.
okay. And so you got rid of that. I know for like
Yep.
they for all kinds of issues, who cares? You moved on.
Yep.
And then you
Yep.
created something so much bigger and better. And one of the things I wanted you to talk about is what are the core stumbling blocks that you see time and time and time again with all the clients that you have talked to, as far as what are the core things that you're finding that are ultimately the most common?
Well, okay. The most common thing I would say is sometimes people. I had a guy today that called today, a perfect example. He's an older guy. He's retired, him and his wife, and they have semi good health, but they need improvements. And I asked him, I said, well, what are you taking? And he's trying everything. He tried a little bit of our stuff. He tried a little bit of this company stuff, a little bit of that stuff, a little bit of this stuff. And what I noticed is if you're going to give something a try, you got to give it the try and not, it's almost like if I came to you for a healing, but I had five other people telling me five different things, I'm really going to just mess myself up.
Right, right.
And I notice a lot of people do that, especially when they're on the spiritual path, because they're so hungry for more that they forget to actually give themselves a little bit of time to let something fully develop for them.
Totally agree. And what it also does is it scatters the energies and the benefits of what come out of whatever modality you're originally using. You know,
Exactly.
it's very important to stay and try to have a plan, not
Yes.
go out and bing, bang, boom, No, I
Yep.
totally agree. Go ahead. I think I cut you off. Sorry.
Well, no, the whole thing is that when you're going to make a consciousness shift and you're going to shift from one dimension to another, like let's say if you're going to become well again and you're not well, that's a sometimes that can be a pretty big vibrational shift, sometimes not so much. But if you keep going back and forth, you really can never stay in that place. And I think what I had to learn, because I was that guy, I was the guy who never did one thing, and I kept myself on the merry-go-round
Mm.
so long until I finally just said, okay, I think I found the right answer. Now I'm going to stick with one thing. And that's how I got myself out of that maze because I just stuck with one approach And it's almost like the permission slip. My mind finally came to agree with it, and I said, okay, now we're going to do the wellness thing again, and we're going to be well.
I love that. So, okay, talk to us a little bit about Ormus. Is that incorporated in the spray and the drops or not?
Well, ORMEs are orbitally, what do they call it? Orbitally rearranged monatomic elements, and that was a name given by David Hudson for the monatomics. He kind of gave that's the name. But this is different because ORMEs are not what we have, because ORMEs are the state that they were discovered in back in like 93 or whatever. And since that time, if you looked at the technology we have today that's out in Switzerland, this is way beyond. In fact, the company that we get our stuff from, they were bought by a biotech company because they want to start using this stuff for what's coming in the future. So this is different. ORMEs are what they found, in the soil. This is kind of like, oh, we discovered it. Let's call it ORMEs. But those are still metals at this point. And like you found with some people that were skeptical, I was one of those people. I wasn't going to just buy somebody's liquid gold that they put together out of some stream and put that in my body, because I don't think it was safe to do. So that's what they would call an ORME, and I didn't want that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. So, okay, so let's get it really clear. So
Yeah.
the actual spray,
Yes.
okay, is more for immune system
Yes.
enhancement, okay? And what are the core ingredients in the spray?
So we talk about the spray. Okay, every one of the sprays that we have, they all have the 12 essential cell minerals. If you burnt the body down to ash, you'd have 12 essential minerals. It has the colostrum. Colostrum is good for the immune system. The Sequoia giganticus, fulvic acid, and then he has the earth magnetic in there. So he's using the magnetics of the earth to kind of help with that cosmic ray, DNA, RNA, and then it has the gemstones. So what it's kind of doing is we're looking at the cellular structure and saying, how can we influence the human body? Is not really physical if you looked under a microscope, everything is 99.999% empty space. We really are non-physical beings, but we think we're physical because we're living in a denser plane. But if you can influence the subtle parts of the body, you can actually bring it from the subtle into the physical. So that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to influence the subtle body and then bring it back into the physical.
Very cool. Now, you talked about cell salts. I'm a really big fan of cell salts, and in fact, I use them all the time in my work. Can you talk to everybody a little bit about what the advantages of cell salts?
Cell salts. Now you have to explain to me in which context, like what kind of cell salts are we talking about?
The homeopathic.
Oh, okay. We were talking cell minerals. It was actually the cell minerals.
Okay.
So there's 12 essential. Like if we were cremated into ash, we would be 12 cell minerals essentially. We'd be broken down to.
Like silica.
Yeah.
Phos, nat phos, nat myrrh, all of those.
Yeah.
And those are so important. In fact, it's been proven that if you take cell salts every single day, after a while, you will not get sick. It's just such an important ingredient in anything you take. So I'm glad that you guys have incorporated it.
Yeah.
In your product.
I even do, like, as a home remedy, I even use the pink Himalayan salt myself instead of regular table salt. I always use Himalayan pink salt.
Yeah, so. And if everybody is not aware of that, if you're being told not to intake salt, it is such a load of what. Yes, you should not eat the salt that's sitting on the dining table when you go into a restaurant, because all that is just pure garbage. That's what's left over after they've extracted all of the trace minerals out of the original salt, by the way. And apparently the salt that they use at the restaurants is what they use for weapons. Okay. Just so you know. So it's really important to take salt. It's hugely important. In fact, salt assists the electrical functioning of the body.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's been said that human beings are salt and light.
Yeah, true. I
Yeah.
remember a long time ago, I ran into a product where they would go out to the middle of the ocean and they would capture the purest ocean water they could. And when they compared that to the actual liquid of the human body, it was so similar,
Mm,
so incredibly similar.
yeah.
It's like, I wonder how the human body relates to the ocean. There's a question.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people already have have dived, have delved into that. Anyway,
Right.
now you brought up the Lost Secrets of the Sacred Ark, and I love Lawrence Gardner.
Yes.
I have read some of his material. I have not had a chance to see this. Can you kind of give the audience an upshot of why you felt that was important for
Hmm.
people to see that?
That's where I began my research.
Ah,
Um, I said if I'm going to make a product that is going to have the greatest potential to affect our entire consciousness and our being, where do I start? And then all of a sudden, my angels, or whatever, just all of a sudden that popped up on my YouTube one day, and I sat and watched the whole show, and I said, that's where I'm going to start. That's where we'll do our research in this area.
wow.
So
So you were divinely guided. That's great.
yes,
You were
I
definitely.
had been asking for it, and about 3 days later, it just showed up, and I focused, and I knew my answer had come. So
That's fantastic, Matthew. Now, the other thing I did have a question was on hollow resident custom live probiotic matrix.
yep.
Okay. I don't even know if I destroyed that, but that was a question I had.
Yes. Okay. So the entire formula is holoresonant. That's what they call it. That's the new terminology that the manufacturer calls it. And holoresonant is it's if you look at the word holo would be like a holographic and resonant like frequencies, something like that. And but the matrix is kind of it is a matrix because you've got the four different you got silver, gold, iridium, and ruthenium, but you also have a pharmaceutical grade probiotic in there, and we use the pharmaceutical grade one because it's guaranteed to be the same every single time without fail or exception. And we wanted to use probiotics because so many people have issues with their guts from the overuse of antibiotics and all the things that are going on, lack of enzymes in the food, that we added that in there too. And it's great that we did. I've had more than a dozen people tell me that, you know what, I've had, they've got all these stomach issues with all these labels that the doctors give them. But in reality, they're really not that complicated sometimes. And a lot of people have said, within a couple of days, I just feel better. And I'm like, well, when's the last time you had any enzymes or, anything with any probiotics?
That's a good point. Anybody that's
And
eating and they have a really full meal and they feel pretty quickly very tired afterwards, that is a really good
yeah,
indication that they're lacking significant digestive enzymes. And so I like the fact that your product has already addressed that. I mean, I can't believe how thorough you've been with this. It's pretty mind blowing. I'm super impressed. Now, you also talked about the nano nutraceuticals and
yes.
the fact that they're nano. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's essentially, like I said, these are exotic, they're non-metal. And so what we're talking about is we're talking about, almost like programmable nanotechnology because these are, that's what holoresonant kind of is referring to. It's that these are liquid software. This is designed to come in and help the body, remember its original blueprint. And that's what the ruthenium study was all about, was that it would lay over the DNA and it would subtly go after the imbalances. And so this nano is that this is so small that if you looked at it, you'd say, I can't find the gold, the silver, the iridium, and the ruthenium. Where is it? But that's where all the breakthroughs are coming. It's coming in the nano. It's the small stuff.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
apparently that's because the cells have become so congested and
yeah,
and the film, there's like a biofilm over every one of our cells now to the point that the not only can the toxins not be released from the cell from the inside out, but the good stuff, the nutrients, can't reach the cell from the outside in. So there's a lot of research on biofilms, and those that I know that have popped a biofilm, I don't even know if you've talked to anybody about that. They
Yeah.
they were sicker than a dog. I mean, well, I
Mm.
should say a dog. I love dogs, but they were sicker than, I mean, sick, 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 really badly sick.
Yeah.
It was almost like an avalanche of virus and bacteria was just,
Oh,
released into their body. So you have to be able to work with the body and not push it. That's
yes.
the essence. When you're working with essences, you're not pushing the body, you're working with the body.
Exactly. That's the way to do it. It is. And I know from experience, when I was really, really ill, some of the first people I had to fire immediately because they put me on these really fast detox programs, and
Uh,
I thought the detox was going to kill me faster than the illness.
don't even get me started. I actually worked with another homeopath, and she was out of Europe, and she told me, she said that they are getting so serious now about the detox packets that are being sold in the stores because more and more people are ending up in the emergency room.
Yeah.
It's just too hard on the body. It's too radical on the body. And if you don't do a proper sequence or
Yeah.
prepare the body, or if you're doing it too fast, too soon, too quickly, the body just completely spins out.
Yeah, if you think about it, a lot of times, these things, these toxins store in our lipids, and they keep them safe for a while. The body says we'll protect you by keeping them there. But if you take this stuff and you force it back into the bloodstream all at the same time, it's like taking a handful of narcotics. I mean, you're going to end up in the emergency room. Your body's intoxicated.
I'm so glad you brought that up. And the other thing I want to say, just so people, an FYI, and that is, if you have a tumor, if you have a cyst, if you have any kind of growth in your body, the first thing you should be doing is stepping back and saying, wow, okay, thank you, body,
Mm,
for walling that off. That,
yeah.
that was a protective response from your system to protect you and keep you alive. That's the first thing. It's all in the way that you see your body and how it responds.
Yeah, I agree with you. People get those and they think that, oh my gosh, this is bad. But in reality, the body has one program. It's to keep you alive,
Right.
and it's going to do what it has to do.
I love the body. I mean, the body fascinates me, just absolutely fascinates me. So I noticed you have a whole bunch of different kinds of kits. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got everything from an RNA essential kit, a complete essential kit, a core essential kit, a men's kit, and a woman's kit. So can you kind of
Yes.
go over, maybe try to break it down
Yeah.
for people as to where would they begin? What are some of the good fits for people?
Sure. Well, it all started with me back when I was, like I said, I was spending 800 some bucks a month on products trying to get well, and nothing was working. Finally figured out what did work. And so my whole goal was I thought about, okay, I said, what's a reasonable amount of stuff that people can use that'll help them, but it doesn't have to be an exorbitant amount. We don't need to go with this superfluous stuff. And the core kit is the basic raw core kit. Um, you've got the fulvic acid base, you've got all of the 72 essential minerals you need, and you've got the whole food based nutritional vitamins. So you're basically doing it in a non-synthetic way, and you're giving your body what it really, really needs on a day-to-day basis. And the core kit it's the core kit. And then if you go with the complete kit, then we add on the RNA spray and then the RNA drops, and then we get the whole complete kit going. And again, all of it for under 200 bucks. We don't want to, it's not about trying to get people to buy every product under the sun, because that doesn't do anything. It confuses you and it makes you sicker usually, because a lot of those are toxins.
Sure.
So ours, we keep it whole food based, we keep it natural, we keep it mostly vibrational, homeopathic stuff, and then minerals and things that your body can utilize, absorb, small particles, small molecules. And that's that. We get in the fit kits, we talk about hormone optimization, because I think that's important. Men are being bombarded with estrogen. I went in to get my estrogen or my testosterone levels checked before Dr. Howard, and I was somewhere between 200 and 300 free flowing. And they said, "Oh, that's normal." I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "Our ancestors were around 800 plus." And I said,
Wow.
how is that normal? I said, I'm in my, at that time I was in my young 30s.
Unbelievable.
And so I went on this stuff, and now I'm way up there again, 700. I'm up in the range where, you know, I'm not a caveman, but I mean, I got
Well, I hope you're
back.
caveman.
You know, I'm growing the beard out, but it's not. I'm just kidding.
God, that's great. So now you brought up once before the Fulvic. Can you
Hold it. Yes.
can you clarify that for people? Because that's a really hot, that's kind of the latest thing in the last couple of years
Yeah.
that maybe people don't know about.
Yep. Well, our products use CHD, which is the name of it, clinically tested fulvic acid. It's very good because it's antiviral, antimicrobial, antibacterial, but it adds a great tertiary base to the minerals you're taking, and it gives it a full spectrum. For instance, if you were just to take one mineral and you think you're going to just take one mineral, the body doesn't like to work like that. It likes to get the whole spectrum. It needs to hydrate the cells. You need to have everything like the way nature intended it. And fulvic is pretty close to what the original, I mean, it is. It's the way nature intended it. It's the actual mineral base that you're not getting in your food that if you were to get, it probably is going to help you out a lot.
That's a good point too, because for example, if you take magnesium,
Yep.
but you're also deciding to take potassium,
Yes.
you know, they can actually be detrimental if you take too much of one and not enough of the other.
Exactly. You
That's,
deplete one and you got problems. Yep.
yes, yes. So fulvic, folks, is very important, which is another reason I recommend this product. I mean, he's really thought this whole thing out. I'm super impressed. Now, talk to us a little bit about, I thought when I saw that you were activating the junk DNA, you have that down on your, did you,
Oh,
this part? I thought that was kind of cool. Talk a little bit about that regarding the sprays and the drops.
well, that would be more geared along the lines of the drops. And
Drops,
then
right?
again, that's the what is junk DNA? There's no such thing as junk.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
and with a lot of the studies that were done, especially like with the ruthenium, it talks about the DNA and the RNA and how it basically made it. Let me see here. I'm actually going to look this up while we talk right now, so I can tell you the exact terminology. But it affected the DNA in a way that you're going to be tapping into a lot of this stuff they call junk. Nothing we have is junk. Just because you don't use your 100% of your brain doesn't mean the rest of it's junk. And that the way they look at it is, well, you're not using it. Let's just get rid of it. Let's take your gallbladder, let's throw it in the garbage. You don't need it.
it's so true. I mean, it is so true. That is the way the Western medical system tends to think.
Yeah.
It's sad, but it's true. Yeah,
Well,
I was impressed with that because the junk DNA, frankly, is just the DNA that we got shut down.
ex-
That doesn't make it
ex-
junk. It just means that we haven't known how to access it.
yeah, exactly. And you know, I have a doctor friend of mine who's incredible, and he's a naturopath. And what he said to me is, he said he found one thing in common with virtually everyone that's had their so-called useless gallbladder taken out is that they all have insulin problems now.
Yeah,
They're either diabetic or pre-diabetic.
I've seen
Well,
that too.
if we don't need it, then why is that happening? It's obvious we needed it. It wouldn't be there.
Same with like the spleen and the appendix.
Yeah,
People when they lose their appendix, which is a very serious, when you end up having an appendix burst or something like that. But when they lose that, then they have all these autoimmune problems
yeah.
down the road, as well as allergies and things like that.
Or
So,
the thyroid. I've met over 5 people personally now that have taken their thyroid taken out, and they're all under 40 years old.
wow.
And I said, so in essence, if you don't take your thyroid medication, you'll die. And they're like, yeah. So now you're a slave to the pharma industry and you have no thyroid. And that I can't imagine that.
I can't either. It's the master gland.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's insane.
Yep.
So what I thought we would do, okay, before we tie everything up, is I thought we could go through each of the individual products and you can just give me a basic blurb on
Okay.
what you think they do, because
Okay.
we've got some pretty cool stuff here. So we focused a lot on the RNA spray, which is going
Yes.
to up your immune system. It's going to help you with viruses, bacterias, fungus, right? Fungus?
Oh, that's part of the immune system handles fungus.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Just want to make sure. And
Yep.
then we have the RNA drops, which is basically going to assist you, I really feel, in using your entire brain,
Yep.
activating, it's going to assist in activating your DNA. And so, okay, let's just go through this. So you have the first product is Bliss. I thought this was a great
Yes.
product. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That is a woman's best friend, but it's also for men too. But it's got oxytocin in
Okay.
it. Well, to give you a okay, I'll sum this up real quick. My mother-in-law is in her mid 60s, and she calls it her blue pill for her. She says she's had the best orgasms ever with the Bliss, and what it does is it brings a woman into that feminine a lot. Just really, the oxytocin is the bonding love chemical, and it also has a bunch of hormonal support to help um, the body kind of get back into that peak state of intimacy and feeling good and connected and love, and you know and that's what it was designed for. It also helps it with burning fat and cravings too, because a lot of times when hormones get awry, you tend to want to substitute that for something else, and
Yeah.
so
Well, and you know what else I thought was cool was it's on let me see, on an emotional, mental level, it's assisting the person in feeling safe. One of the biggest issues, I
yeah,
think,
exactly.
for women and sex is just being in a safe and secure environment. So,
Yeah, it seems like I'm not a woman, but it seems like most women are driven in that way, where they have to really feel that emotional connection.
yes, they do.
Yep,
And so Bliss is $79.99.
that's right. And all of our products are actually discounted when you purchase two or more. So anytime you add two or more to the checkout, if you're in the US, you get free shipping. Outside of the US, it's very reasonable, but you always get a discount on each product whenever you add two or more.
Cool. And do me a favor, folks. You know that I do a ton of work for the light. I don't get paid for these radio programs or the 365-day a year blogging and the missions and all this other stuff. So if you do purchase anything from Matthew, please go through my website. That's what I'm asking today. I will be putting a widget up there. Right now, you can go up to the healing products and services. There's a drop-down menu, and it's under there. It says RNA drops, okay? So then you have the tea spray. So tell the men about the tea spray.
Tea spray is my favorite. That's for male testosterone. That is designed to basically put the alpha male back together again, because I feel like when your testosterone is right, you're confident, you feel good, your immune system's better, and men are designed to be testosterone. I mean, today it's a shame because the plastics are full of estrogen, the meats are full of hormones, and the TV, the media is trying to feminize the male, and that's okay, but it's really deviating from our nature to a certain extent, and I just feel like it brings, for me and the people I know that use it, it brings you back into your power, into your testosterone. You feel like the king of the jungle and not, getting run over by someone else.
That's a good point. And
It's,
that one
yeah,
is $79.99 also.
correct.
Okay. Okay, and then you have the Electrolyte Pro.
Yep.
Tell us.
That's the entire mineral base, and then with the fulvic acid. So that is really good for hydrating the cells, for cellular hydration, for hydration in general, and for getting the minerals your body needs.
Okay, I'm making a note of that because I have a question for you. I just feel like I can't get enough water,
Yes,
and I feel like I'm dehydrated all the time. So this would be good for me.
I would say so. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. Good to know. I'm sure
Yes.
plenty of other people out there that are feeling the same way.
Yeah.
Something that we all complain about, even though I'm drinking extremely good water, even.
Yep.
So, okay, how about the HCG Complete? I'm sure everybody's heard about the HCG Complete. And oh, by the way, the Electrolyte Pro is $39.99.
Yes.
I mean, your price is really reasonable for what you're giving people. The
Oh,
HCG
absolutely.
Complete,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Let me grab it because some people make the mistake of thinking it's just HCG, and it's not. It's, like again, all these sprays are designed by Dr. Howard, and he doesn't just put together a one-trick pony. He makes everything a complete kit in itself. So the HCG Complete has the HCG in a 6X. It also has the growth hormone in a 3X. GH has the cell minerals. It has the fatty acids, spirulina, chlorella, apple cider vinegar, chromium, and arginine and DNA, RNA. So what it
Wow.
is it's designed to help the body mobilize fat in a complex way. And you don't necessarily have to go to the 500 calorie a diet day with the HCG as you do with the other protocols.
Yes.
You can if you want to, but it's not necessary. You just want to be able to mobilize fat better, and then it's logic takes over after that. I never advocate people to do that without doctor supervision because I don't think we're supposed to starve ourselves.
I don't either. I agree. And what I say is since I reincarnated here, at least I want to enjoy my food.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So now tell us, I mean, have you had some really cool success stories on this particular formula, especially considering it does assist you in fat loss?
Yes, absolutely. I just put out an email yesterday with a testimonial we had, and um, I had two of them in that email. And one lady said that they're working better than anything she's ever tried. She's using the Fit Kit, the Bliss, and the HCG. And another person said they're doing the program that we have. I have a How to Have a Super Body System. It's a complete course you can take where I went through it myself, and I videoed it. And it's basically going through the transformation. I lost almost a pound a day for the first couple of weeks, and then I just recorded it. And there was no starving myself. There's none of that. It was just switching, to hydrofibers, basically water-based food, fruits, veggies, seeds, nuts, things that grow from the earth. And then I used the sprays and then a couple of the products we have. And that was all there is to it. So that this other person did the program and they had incredible results. And, not everybody's going to get incredible results, but they're not going to with any product. But
Sure.
it's a complete system entailed if you want to take advantage of it.
Right. And it depends on the person's body.
Exactly.
It's just like healing. Depends on how much healing you've already done. It depends on how much work you've already done. It depends on how many layers you've already lifted. It depends on how receptive you are to let it go. It depends on can you release it. I mean, seriously, weight loss is also about the thoughts.
Yes.
Thought programming. It's a big.
It's a lot about that. Yeah.
Big.
It is.
Okay, now your next item is, okay, did I tell everybody? The HCG Complete is $79.99. And then magnesium, okay, gosh, your price on this is really outstanding, $29.99. Tell us a little bit about that, because this, you really did your research on this, as far as the way it's released into the
Yes. Yes, that's right. When you're looking at different types of magnesiums, there's all kinds of different forms and types. The one common complaint you'd get with magnesium is it causes a laxative effect if taken to a certain dosage, and that can cause a further depletion of magnesium because you're losing minerals, you're getting worse. And people that actually are deficient in magnesium can't absorb magnesium at the same time. It's a double-edged sword. So what you need is you need a form that bypasses the digestive system and it goes right into the cell. So it's ionically charged and it's at an angstrom-sized particles, which is 40,000 parts per million. So those are so small that they are able to get into the cells right away, and it has the fulvic acid base along with it that helps with the tertiary minerals that you need to help bring it into the cell.
That's fantastic. Now, how would you compare this to, I know that one of the popular ways to take magnesium is to rub it on your skin. Any comment on that?
Well, I like that method, and we have our Back into Action pain spray is a topical magnesium with a DMSO base and some frequencies, and the DMSO ushers that into the skin a lot faster. But topical It works. It really does. But for me, I like to use both because you burn magnesium so fast. I use my minerals twice a day in my juice or my water with my food, and then I use the topical on areas where it needs it specifically.
Okay, that's good to know. And you can actually add the magnesium into your morning drink.
Oh yeah, that's how you make them. You just put them right into your morning drink, and then you don't even notice it there, and you just go right along with your day.
That's really cool. Okay.
I got to tell you a story. I have a doctor that just ordered for me. He's a medical doctor, and he's had palpitations and he's had some high blood pressure. And he said he was a little embarrassed because he's a doctor and he found out about our product and he ordered the Electrolyte Pro and the magnesium 3 days ago. He called me and he says, you know what? It hasn't even been 24 hours. He says, I feel this. He goes, my heart's not doing its thing. He's like, this is it. He's like, I know this is the answer. And I'm like, well, if you look at the physician's desk reference manual, or if you look at some of these places where they look at different types of drugs, they all deplete magnesium. And he's on high blood pressure medication, so he's further exacerbating a deficiency that's already there. So if you get the 98% absorption, our products have a 98% absorption. So if you're getting it into the cell, well, he's solving a very complex problem very simply.
I just had a big wow because I'm thinking pharmaceuticals automatically deplete the magnesium in the body. Just the fact that they created pharmaceuticals with that core construct, that just says a lot. That just says a lot. I'll leave it at that. Come on.
Yeah. I'll give you a quick 10-second story. I had a friend that owned a nutrition store across town from me, and I was always blown away because his numbers were astronomical. Everybody went to his store. They loved him. So I had a mystery shopper go in there and say, well, what does he do? Why is he so good? And they said everybody that came in without fail or exception, he pulled out this book, and he asked them what drugs they were on, and he showed them that it was depleting magnesium and another whatever mineral, and he'd give them their minerals back, and then they would always get better because he's solving their problem, and then they loved him for life, and he just showed them where their problem came from.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Pretty tricky there to send a mystery shopper in, Matthew.
I had to see what was his secret recipe. I was like, this guy's so good. What is he doing?
That's hilarious. Okay, now the next one's called Alter Rush, and it's $69.99. What's that?
Yep. That is the chocolate flavored powder that you mix. I like to make it like a hot chocolate. And what it is designed for mitochondrial energy. So it's the antipode of energy drinks. Energy drinks actually will deplete your adrenals and they're not good for you. We use them when we're already depleted. So we exacerbate a problem. This is designed with the D-ribose in it. D-ribose is used by Fatigue to Fantastic, Dr. Teitelbaum. That's his, secret at 5 grams a day. So it has the 5 grams a day for mitochondrial energy. It also has DMG. DMG was used with Muhammad Ali. It's vitamin B15. It restored his vitality back in the prime of his fighting career. And then it also has pregnenolone. So that's the Suzanne Summers, talks about pregnenolone. It's one of the hormones that helps with the brain, helps the, body balance itself back out, hormones. And it has so much more in there, hunger suppression stuff in there, energy, but it only has the equivalent of half a cup of coffee in there. So it gives you just enough to give you a little perk, but it gives you the real energy back. And it's also got the adrenal support system with rhodiola rosea and a couple other things. So you can build the body back up again.
God, that's terrific. Now, is this equivalent to like the morning shake, that everybody goes out of their way to try to find what's the best shake? Should I get whey or should I get soy? Is it anything comparable to that, or is this taking that off?
Not necessarily. That stuff is good because that's the protein. This is actually, let's say you get up every morning and you feel like crap, so you go to Starbucks every morning, or you make your big cup of coffee every morning because that's the only way you can function. Well, if you're doing that, it means you're already depleted and you're just basically masking a problem. So what this is designed to do is you can add this in addition to your coffee, and you can also do it without the coffee, I'd refer you'd use less coffee, and then you'd start to build your body back up again. So this is designed to get you sparked up and get you going, but it doesn't further deplete your adrenals and your system like caffeine will do.
It sounds almost like, is this actually repairing the adrenals over a period of time?
Yeah, that's what it's designed for.
Okay.
It's designed to get your body strong and vital again without the crash and the burn.
And honestly, every single person on the planet is adrenal hungry, you know.
That's why I developed it because I've been there twice and
Yeah. So have I, trust me.
yeah,
It's not fun.
no.
Okay, now what about back into action? And that's $39.99.
That's the topical pain spray. It has a proprietary frequency matrix in there. It's imprinted in there, but it's predominantly the formula is magnesium and DMSO. And DMSO is healing in and of itself, but DMSO will usher anything into the body that's put in with it. So it transports the magnesium into every cell in the body within like 20 minutes, and the frequencies too.
That was cool. And I noticed you had a story up there about a guy that broke his neck. Can you share that with everybody? That was an awesome story. He used this.
Yeah, that's the genius. That's the genius doctor who's a friend of mine that actually developed the formula, and he had 18 years where he was in chronic pain, convulsions, vomiting. He broke his neck and he couldn't do anything, but he had the pain every single day. Well, he was so smart. He actually figured out how to heal his neck because he found how to match a frequency of a healthy neck and then transmit that frequency to his neck. And he started to repair his neck with frequencies. And then he decided he would go after his knees from all the marathons he did and all the running because he had bone on bone with his knees. And that's where the formula for the back, what we call the back in action, came from, because he had to restore his knees too. So he kind of took the knowledge of what he learned from frequencies, put it into the mix, and then, the magnesium and the DMSO was something he just recently discovered with, everything needs magnesium, and the DMSO was the trans delivery system.
That's amazing. Have you also found that people that take the back into action, are they experiencing shifts in their vertebrae?
I haven't found anything like that yet. I haven't heard too many people not too many people are that knowledgeable about the vertebrae, so to speak, unless they've had an injury.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you have the multivitamin at $39.99. Now this is a liquid multivitamin.
That's right.
That's a really good price. Okay, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's one of my favorites because it's based on whole food nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I've learned, and this is what I want to stress every time, is that synthetics are toxins. So when you use synthetic vitamins, not only can the body not understand what they are, and they trick the body out of its own balance, but they become toxins to the body, and you can also develop a deficiency. If you have let's say you have a synthetic B vitamin in your body, and you go through a trauma, and you had a psychological trauma where your body associates that synthetic vitamin with that trauma. So now you almost have an allergy to it next time you take it. And all of a sudden you start feeling lightheaded and you're like, oh, I don't know what's wrong with me. Well, your synthetic vitamins are garbage and they're toxins, and your body has now linked that to your trauma. And if you stick with whole food, what nature intended, the body knows exactly what to do with it. It brings it in. We have different types of seaweeds in the vitamin that are natural, that contain a lot of minerals and enzymes. There's aloe and honey, natural honey flavoring. So it's all natural.
That's really good. And that's good. That's a really good point, Matthew, is that the body will take a synthetic, and because it's not, this is what I learned when I went back to school, and I had such an aha moment. You can take aspirin,
Mm-hmm.
and you can take willow bark, and you can take this Tylenol that they actually have created. And because it's molecularly not matching a natural molecular structure that the body recognizes, it will literally take it and just kind of store it. It'll put it somewhere. It'll find a place to put it. And it usually stores it in the tissues. And after a period of time, and that's why people have cellulite, that's why people have fat, okay? Actually, I had one person say to me, And one way, love your fat, because it's another reason you're still alive.
Exactly. Yes.
Because we're so toxic that if we didn't
Yep.
have the fat, we'd really be in trouble. But
Right.
I definitely want to stress to people that synthetic anything, and most of the stuff out on the shelves in these stores is synthetic. And if it's even just one molecule off from the real deal, the body doesn't know what to do with it. It can't
Yep.
match it. It can't match its signature, so it basically finds a place to put it. You know?
Exactly.
So, okay, and then Vapotropin, 69.99. What is that?
So Vapotropin is designed for male potency in the bedroom. And what we did is we took some of the hormonal support that's in the tea spray, but a common complaint that we hear a lot, time and time again. In fact, I had an employee here that was in his 20s a year ago, and he was having issues with male potency in his 20s. And so I said, well, let me try to figure this out because this shouldn't be this way. And I just kind of observed for a few days, and he ate the same thing for food every day at lunch. And you know what he ate? He ate these beef jerky from Walmart, and those are GMO soy jerky. And I said, you know what soy is? And he's like, what? I said, it's pure estrogen. And I said, you're eating estrogen every single day. And I said, stop that for a while and take this Vapotropin. And then within a week, he said he was right back where he was supposed to be.
That's
He's in his 20s.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're finding that even because I know for the women, we're receiving so much estrogen, especially because if you do eat meat, you're receiving it through the cows and the chickens and all that, right?
Yep.
And I know young girls are getting their periods earlier. I know they're getting bigger boobs. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're finding the same thing with the men as far as the estrogen, the excess estrogen is affecting.
Oh, yeah. It's terrible.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well,
Yeah.
I'm thoroughly impressed. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience? And please feel free to do so.
Well, I would just say I really like the work that you're doing, and you're right on the money with everything where we're heading, and I'm just trying to keep up. I'm just trying to get to where we're going and get there in one piece with a smile on my face. So, and I made the whole company so people could come along for the ride, and what's worked for me is what we sell, and I have really really good health today. I mean, compared to where I was when I was sick, I mean, I work out today sometimes with kids that are, in their college athletics, and I can put them to shame in the weight room at almost double their age after life-threatening illnesses because the body is amazing.
It is.
And I'm teaching some of these young guys to just stop taking all these energy drinks and killing yourself, but put in your body what it really can use. Like you said, the natural stuff. And these guys take it to the next level when they start to get the message, and because they're so deficient and they don't even know it.
Well, that's cool. And I just want everyone to know when you go to galacticconnection.com, there's going to be 2 locations that you can access Matthew's information in his website. The first one is under the menu tab on the 3rd row, and it's called Healing Products and Services. It will be in the drop-down menu under RNA Drops, and we call it the new liquid software. I just love that. The second one, I will be creating a widget, and I'll be placing that on the website as well, so you can just go right to that box, click on it. It takes you directly to Matthew's website, and there is a promotion going on, right, Matthew?
That's correct.
So go ahead and tell them about that.
Okay. Do you remember the code, Alexandra?
It is GC10?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
If you use the code GC10, you get $10 off your purchase. And it's really substantial because we've already dropped the price as low as we can possibly go. An additional $10 is, it's incredible for what you're going to get for this product. So that's only for your listeners. So that's how we do it.
Yay! Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well, so cool. Thank you. You're such an informed soul, and I know that you took a very painful experience in your youth and your your Lyme's disease and your post-traumatic stress and all of those things. I mean, really, truthfully, if we all realize that when we have these challenges and adversities in our life, it's all about what we choose to do with them. because really, look what Matthew's done. He's created a line of products that truly are so unique. They're so unique. And I just felt like this was such a good marriage with my audience because it's very spiritually based. And I just feel really good about you. And I know that your heart is really true, that you really want to make a difference on the planet. So again, just go ahead and please check us out. Again, you can go to the Healing Products and Services drop-down menu for the RNA drops, or we will also have a box on one of the columns, and you'll be able to reach it there. And you'll see it. I'll just say RNA drops, and you'll be able to access it. Okay?
All right.
So thank you, Matthew, for your time. I so appreciate it. And keep up the good work. I'm sure we'll stay in touch. And keep me informed of any other cool products.
I will, and I'm looking forward to trying some of your essences too. So
I know we got to get this going because
exactly,
it is such a good marriage. It really is.
It is. Yes.
So, well, thanks again, and everybody, please feel free to just contact me if you have any questions at galacticconnection.com. And of course, there's a myriad of different products and services that you can choose. You'll see this is a massive website, trust me. And we will go from here. Hope everybody has a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you soon. Lots of love. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.